Hello, everybody. My name is Robbie Robson, and we are going to talk about the IEEE Industry Engagement Committee work that's specifically aimed at career guidance and at young professionals. So this is our agenda for the day. We'd like to do a little bit of an introduction to our young professional oriented efforts. We're going to show you two AI-enabled tools, and I will introduce our speakers in a moment, and they will be the ones that are showing you. They're the lead developers on them. We have an opportunity to talk about some other efforts, and depending on what kind of time we have a discussion. I believe there's a poll that's running, and we're asking, why sort of what your interest is. If you could fill out that poll, and if some of the hosts could show us the results as that gets pulled out, that would be great. So first, let me do this and introduce you to our speakers. So there's me. Just a little background on myself. So I'm a co-founder of a tech company, a software company that we started in 2001, as well as a very recent AI-focused startup. I am the chair of the Industry Engagement Committee Workforce Group. And my home sort of in IEEE is dually the Standards Association, which is where I spend most of my time these days, as well as the Computer Society. And I've also been involved in launching open source efforts within IEEE. So next, I'd like to introduce Rick Talukdar, and if you bring him up on the stage. Rick is a distinguished AI ML architect. He's a product leader at Amazon, and he can tell you more about himself when he does his demo. But he's also the lead for this thing called ICGC, which stands for the IEEE Career Guidance Counselor, and he's an IEEE senior member and volunteer. And Rick, if you want to say something more when you do your sort of demo, feel free to do so. I don't want to leave out anything important. Our next speaker is Shamika Sadushinga. So if we put Shamika up on the stage, Shamika is one of our YP leads. He is the vice chair of the IEEE Students and Young Professionals. The chair is Savicha, and she is actually on a plane right now. But Shamika is also has won many awards for his research. He's a SRC research scholar, NSF graduate fellow. He's at University of Illinois I always call it Champaign-Urbana, but I guess it's Urbana-Champaign. He's interested in machine learning and various data-intensive software applications. And so last, but certainly not least, Matt Scott is he's the co-founder he co-founded a computer vision startup. He was a researcher at Microsoft Research. He's also the chair of the Industry Content Platform Working Group and was chair of the working group that spawned a lot of these projects. He's quite an impressive coder, as well as an impressive business person, and he's currently involved in a really interesting startup as well. So with that, what I'd like to do is to just go briefly over some of our efforts. And then the first thing we're going to do is to turn it over so that we can actually see a demo. In my earlier career, I had a colleague who was the founder of the International Multimedia Association, and also was the developer on the ARP synthesizer, which is going to mean very little to a lot of you, but it was one of the early music synthesizers. And he had a great saying, which is "working code trumps all theories." So our goal today is to show you working code. But I did want to talk a little bit about some of the other things, and we'll have a chance to discuss those at the end as well. So first of all, we do have this career guidance counselor. You're going to see a live demo of that, so I won't go into great detail there. And we also have a Region 10 career fair that is being organized by the Young Professionals group. We are working on the idea of creating some standards internships. If we have time today, we'll talk a little bit about that to get people involved in standards development. We have some training opportunities. There's an annual conference that's taking place in Panama in March, and we'll be represented there. So if any of you are going there, and we also have this industry content platform, which basically transforms highly technical papers into industry versions. But we're really interested in understanding how that might help you as well. So let's talk a little bit about this, the industry, the career guidance counselor. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me get. I'm out of order here. I am so sorry. Let me get Chanika up first, and if we give Chanika the stage, I can do the slide, Chanika, and you can go ahead and present. Can we hear you? Chanika, I can't hear you. Hello.
Just testing, Robbie. Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Okay.
Chanika?
I'm guessing he might be muted.
Is he muted?
I see a message. He's not muted, but we have no audio output. A little message in the chat.
Okay. Well, you know what we're going to do? Let's see if Chanika can figure out the audio, and if while we do that, I'm just going to go ahead down to Rick's stuff, and so this is the career guidance counselor, and I'll just do this one slide, Rick, and then hand things over to you. Okay.
Sure.
All right, and maybe we can work Chanika's things out in the background. Okay, so what's the background of this career guidance counselor is that we've done surveys of IEEE membership. And when we ask, what's important to IEEE members, we get various results. The results we get from people who are what we call young professionals, so within 15 years of their first degree, are quite different than those that we get from the normal for the just regular IEEE members who are more advanced in their careers. And the number one thing that we hear from students and from people who are early in their career is that they want mentoring and internships. So we have an initiative that's funded by something called the New Initiatives Committee. They fund various new initiatives within IEEE. And what it is doing is it's using AI, and you'll see that in the background, to develop this IEEE career guidance counselor. And the idea is there are other career guidance counselors out in the world. Of course, people are using LLMs to develop them, but this one is particularly interesting because it leverages our IEEE resources. So, for example, mentors that are IEEE members, IEEE activities like ADACAP and NEW and others that could be used to improve somebody's resume. The e-learning that we offer through the IEEE Learning Network, industry internships. These are the kinds of things that it can leverage that are specific to IEEE and are an advantage of IEEE membership. So right now we have a proof of concept that's in testing, and you're going to see a little bit of that. And the pilot is going to be run with in collaboration with the young professionals community, and we've already been lining up some testers for that. So with that, I'm going to try to stop presenting and let Rick take over.
Thank you so much, Rob. Let me quickly share my screen, and can any of you put a thumbs up if it's clear, if you can see my screen, or I need to zoom in a little bit? Looks good.
Yeah.
Potentially, I'm getting a thumbs up from all. Okay. Awesome. So again, I think I just wanted to double click. First of all, thank you so much for making the time to join this. But again, double click on what Rob mentioned, right? The idea is to use the power of generative AI as well as agentic approaches to build Galileo. It's in POC, proof as a concept, but the idea is to provide curated opportunities for young professionals. What it does, it can help you connect with mentors, build that networking, as well as help you connect with activities, or even if you're looking at some guidance around paths or learning, or trying to look at advancing your career in a certain segment, or even it can go and help you today with the right opportunities. So without further delay, let's start interacting with Galileo and see the results. So if you can see my screen, maybe I'll start with a journey like a young professional. So I'll start with a simple question of how can you help me, right? So what's happening is Galileo is looking at some of the knowledge bases or resources, but it's providing you with details of what are the areas it can help you with. So as you see in the example, it says I can clearly help you with career guidance, internship, mentoring opportunities, if there's any learning, even to the extent I can help you with some tips to improve your resume. So let's do this. Let's actually go ahead and attach a resume. I created a simple resume of John Doe, and I'm saying, hey, I have attached my resume. Can you please help me improve it? Right. So now what's happening is Galileo has a context. It has a sample resume with it. It's going over it in details and trying to analyze what are the areas it can optimize. But again, before we see the results, let me quickly bring in John Doe's resume. It's a simple generated resume that I've created using generative AI. You can see it's a very basic resume that we have. Now, if you really go through this, you would see a number of things happening, but in a nutshell, it provides with a very curated response specific to John Doe's resume and how it can improve it as an assistant. It can also provide some of the additional improvement it sees. Right? Now, let me ask a quick question. Sorry, is there any question? Okay, I'll continue. Can you suggest some mentors based on my background? So basically, I'm trying to understand as a young professional if there's a way I can get some mentorship. So what it is doing is it's actually looking through the pool of mentors that are available, and then it's matching that with the skill set or the resume that John Doe has and pulling out the information from those databases. On top of that, if you see, it actually provides you with some advice of how to proceed and what about the next step, what you want to do with it. So let's say, for example, I take somebody like Tonea and say, I want to reach out to Tonea to get some help. Can you write an email for me? So now if you see, not only it does find information, which is critical, it also actually crafts an email for Tonaya, for the young professional John Doe, with the appropriate details that are reflected in the resume. So it's actually taking the contextual reference of the resume to build that out for John. Now, let me go and say, based on my resume, can you quickly find me some jobs? So what we have done is, as an experimentation, we have used Amazon's job API. Basically what it's doing is it's actually taking a larger approach and then trying to find out job that matches with John Doe's profile. And not only it does that, it actually looks at John Doe's location and sees if there are openings based on this profile in that particular location. Now, if you see this response, it not only did that, it actually say that, hey, in your location, there might not be appropriate jobs for you, but we can expand this. And there are other companies who are looking at these opportunities based on your capabilities, right? And it also provided you with some tips and guidance that, hey, next time if you're looking for a job, these are the ways you can prioritize it, right? Now, let me ask a couple of last questions. Can you help me improve my resume to apply to these jobs? So basically, you're getting a guided advice to see how you can improve your resume to actually apply to these jobs that you have, right? And it can be very specific. So what it does now is it goes through each section of your resume or John Doe's resume and talks about how it can be improved and also provides some additional feedback. Now let's take the next step here, right? Let me say, based on my interest, I want to pursue some AI ML courses. Can you find me some? So now what I'm saying is, hey, my background is electrical, but I still want to find out some AI ML courses. Can you help me find those? Right. So it provides you with courses, and this is where we are pulling information from ILN, and showing all the active courses that is available for anyone to take from the IEEE resources. And lastly, I would say, great, craft an email to a mentor saying, I am taking this, let's say I'm taking this particular course to advance my career. Let's see what it does. Here you go. So see the context. We already discussed about Tanaya as a mentor. So it already is aware of the context, and it writes an email based on the present skill set as well as what he's going to learn in AIML, and crafts the email, which can be easily copy pasted and sent out to Tanaya. And then lastly, let's try out something different. Let me say, hey, can you write a code for me to implement, let's say, random forest? So when we built this, we took care of some guardrails, standards that IEEE has. And on top of that, we also make sure that there are certain mechanisms that is inbuilt using responsible AI principles. So if you see, lastly, when I asked this question, basically it says, hey, I cannot provide you with this. The reason is this and this, and I can guide you to understand the concepts or point you to resources which can help you go. So these are the guardrails that we are talking about. And then finally, I would say thank you, Galileo, for helping me out. Can you share a career mantra for a young professional like me? So if you see this, I will echo this. We have to innovate, we have to adapt to changes, connect with people, and continue to evolve and learn. Thank you for that. I'm happy to take if there are any questions. I will stop sharing now and hand it over to Rob.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, all right. So I put a little poll in here, and I'm not we're not completely familiar with this platform, so hopefully this will work. But if you have a chance, we'd love to hear what you have to say here. And I don't know if one of the hosts can let us know. Can people that are in the audience, can they actually talk? Okay, here's the chat. If anybody wants to make a comment, I think you could just put your name in the chat window, and I believe that they can be allowed. Okay, so there's a question. Is the tool free to use? So right now, the tool is, first of all, proof of concept, but when it comes out, the thought is to make it available to our young professionals. That's something that will be determined then, but at least from my perspective, and I can't make any promises because I'm not the one in charge of that. We've talked about it being a sort of a member benefit, and for other people to use. Okay. All right. So we can see the when will the app be available? So we're going into, I mean, I'll let Rick answer that. My answer is that we're going into sort of the pilot stage next, and we hope to have it available by the end of the year. Rick, is that have I promised too much?
Yep. No, I think that's our goal, to make it available to you all by the end of the year.
All right.
I think let me just ask one quick question. Maybe people are shy to come and ask, but do you think a tool of this nature would be really helpful? Can we get a thumbs up for that, or a +1 on the chat? There you go. A lot of thumbs up.
This looks like hot air thumbs up rising up on the stage.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot. Okay. How do you get access? So the YP community has reached out and is arranging some pilot testers. If you want to join that group, I don't know how many people are in the audience, but if you do, just Nancy, can I say to let you know? And or who should they let know so that we can get their contact information? Okay, there it is. Okay. So there you have it. Nancy Austin at IEEE.org. Send an email there. And we love to have people try out the pilot, and we don't know how exactly how many people are going to be involved in that, but right now we have quite a few, so that would be great. Okay, are there any other questions? Where does it search for jobs? That's a really good question. So, and the answer is that we are working with and this is only for the U.S. We're working with an organization that has access to all of the state workforce agency job postings. That's not done yet, and we don't have the agreement. Remembering that this was just a proof of concept at this stage. As far as the goal is to hook into these kinds of job sources, and there are many. There are others outside of the U.S. In fact, even that organization deals with their parent deals with things outside the U.S. So the idea is ideally to tap into publicly available job boards that are there for this purpose. The other half of that is tapping into IEEE industry members who are part of either one of our IEEE programs or have other connections through IEEE, be it through standards or simply through membership, to get internships posted there. Okay. So what I think I'd like to do is to let me go back to Jamika. I want to leave plenty of time for you, Matt. So Jamika, maybe actually, you know what? Let's do Matt next. If that's okay with you, Jamika? Okay, since since it's easy for you to grab the screen, I think that would be the best thing. Let me show one slide, and then I'll explain what you're going to see, and at that point, you can go. Okay, and I'll try to give you a little bit of the context. Matt will give you a much better and also more enthusiastic demo than I will. So, so what is this about? So this is the issue that this product, and it's getting pretty close to that, it was designed to address, is that in industry, and by extension for other communities, for example, for students, there's people don't have the time, first of all, and they don't have the expertise necessarily to dig into the technical details of the typical IEEE publication. So the typical IEEE publication, if you look on the left, has a bunch of math in it. It has it's highly technical in nature. This one is talking about soft switch, high step up, trans-inverse DC converter based on built-in transformers. This is very interesting if you're in that community, and especially if you're a researcher in that community. But if you're a industry practitioner, you might want to understand what's in this paper, how it can be used for you, what's relevant, what the applications are, where to look further, and if you need to then link back to the paper to find out more details if you so desire, and also have the background to do so. So what we're doing is using AI to transform this into a version, it's a new version that gets vetted by the author of the original version that presents this information in a more digestible and more useful way, and also adds other things to it from its world knowledge. So that's what this does. And we're showing this to you because it's interesting, and it's a very nice application, but also because we're interested in understanding how helpful this would be to you, because one of the communities that we definitely want to reach out to is the young professionals, and we want to understand how useful this to you, even as a student or as a early career professional, whether this is something that's of utility. And with that, I'm going to stop sharing and pass it over to Matt to give you the actual demo and talk about a lot more of the details.
Perfect. Excellent. Thank you so much, Robbie. And I'm really excited to share with everyone what we've been working on. So this is the industry content platform. It's basically, as Robbie said, this is a way to take the academic content of the IEEE from Explorer and also other sources of IEEE content, even in YouTube. Also, there's lots of great content from the IEEE sort of scattered throughout the web. Bring it all together where it's relevant for industry or people who are focused on applications, and make this content more useful, more accessible, and as Robbie mentioned, add to it as well. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So, so let's take a look at an example article. So maybe it's useful if I start with what the original article looks like. So I'll go to the digital library button here for this particular example. So Robbie showed a case, and I'll show you another one. Basically, this is the academic article that's the underlying content, the source content, and this is great. It's very attractive for a researcher, but it's very long, and there's a high density of information about details. But as an engineer, I don't have time. I want to get to the core problem to solve as quickly as possible. I want the key points as quickly as possible. And also, I may want an attractive form factor. I want it to, look like a contemporary app, almost like, a Reddit post. I want it to be something engaging, something I can look on my mobile phone, I can share, just something that speaks to me in the industry world. And And so what we see here is this transformation. We don't call it a summary, it's a transformation into industry-oriented version. And we can see the title has been rewritten to be more industry-oriented, the subtitle, it's been automatically classified, an image has been generated, behind the scenes for the banner. We provide the attribution back to the original article of course. We have a lot of sharing and ways of further looking at the article, but the key here is the content. So we break it down immediately into the key points of this article. We have this nice table of contents that breaks down immediately. What is the problem to solve? What is the solution? What are the pros and cons, etc.? Let me go through that a little bit. So the problem to solve. So as an engineer, that's sort of the way you generally phrase things. You're looking for the problem, and that's first and foremost. But it's not just from the academic perspective, it's actually rewritten from an industry view as well. Talking about here, batteries, for example, aging, their capacity, etc. There's a discussion about existing solutions, because that's, as an engineer, the first thing you're going to think about is, why is this approach better or not? And so we have existing, and then the proposed solution is brought out here. This is essentially rewritten for a practitioner. But what's important to note is that, unlike others who just use LLMs to summarize or rephrase text, this is actually multimodal. So we actually integrate, it brings in imagery or diagrams from the original article intelligently into this transformed article where it makes sense, and rephrases the captions, etc., to make the content more compelling and interesting. Again, we break down the pros and cons. So as an engineer, you're going to be skeptical. You're going to say, well, okay, that sounds too good to be true. And so, as Robbie mentioned, this is a world model, so it looks beyond just the current article and considers the overall limitations as well, and the advantages. There's also, importantly, the applications and the implementation. So the applications are highlighted here as how can this actually be used in industry? And this may be not what the original authors included in their article. And so this is bringing new information, but then also steps. We're building this product in conjunction with engineers who say, basically, tell me step 1, 2, 3. How do I actually go about next steps to take these research findings, take this technique to the next level in implementation? So we bring out those implementation steps. They also care about key performance indicators, the KPIs, and risks and mitigations. These are all brought about automatically with the world model. But something really exciting, bringing together the power of the sort of universe of IEEE, is the standards as well. And so at the end of the article, we have the recommended or relevant industry standards from IEEE, and we can see we don't just get a random list of standards by keyword or something like that. This is actually semantically relevant, and not just the title and link, but explanation why this is relevant for this particular, if you're going to implement this as an application. And so this is a very powerful way of approaching it, and kind of unifies the IEEE's information. And you can actually go ahead and click these standards. And what's also interesting is that our overall approach here is an agentic approach, agentic AI, where we have an agent that goes about to search IEEE's standards, such that it's not just looking for any random standard that generally matches. It's going to walk up the tree of standards to find the active one. So in standards, you can have red lines, you can have different versions. Sometimes it can be difficult to figure out the key standard, and we do that automatically here as well. And so there's related articles. Of course, you can change this to any language as well. And of course, you want to read this in dark mode, you can do that. But let's go one level deeper here. If I go back to the homepage, as I mentioned at the beginning, IEEE content is scattered in some sense throughout the web. what if we could bring all of that together here and again, make it searchable? You can explore by industry, by application, but let's take a look at this. I'm going to click on this article here, which is actually source is a YouTube video. So let's see what that looks like. Okay, we're not going to watch that. But the idea is that, there's this great IEEE content out there. So this approach is actually summarizing the key points, but breaking it down in a similar way. Problem to solve, existing solutions, proposed solution, etc. But look at something interesting here. Instead of an image from the original video, it's actually taking a timestamp where it's relevant and highlighting in the caption what's going on. And so you can actually continue watching. Sorry, there's a little bit of jarring going on. You can see the existing solutions with the intelligent captions, the proposed solution, the pros and cons, etc. And again, it brings together the industry standards relevant to implementing this as an application. So you can go ahead and continue watching. And so it's a really nice way of breaking it down and bringing it into the overall fold of information. Again, everything gets automatically classified. So if you're interested in this particular area, you can click it and see all the related topics. And I should mention that your profile will actually highlight the topics of interest. So all of this IEEE content will be personalized to you. Last but not least, very important here is quality. This is not just a random kind of generations of content. This is reviewed and published through this platform. It's called the Industry Content Platform. So we have a similar editorial process as Scholar One, or if people are familiar with the IEEE publication process, where there's a review, there's multiple reviews before things go out the door here. And so, for example, down here in the submit content, you can submit Explore URLs or YouTube URLs, DOIs for the transformation, but nothing goes on the website immediately. It has to go through this review process for quality. And so the original authors can review these papers or an editorial board. And so there it goes through sort of a round one, round two, could be rejected, and then published. And you can actually, if you're an editor or you're a reviewer, you can see who is submitting these things. You can preview them. You can bring them to the second round. I can assign different editors, and I can even edit them in line if there's something wrong. And ultimately I can reject, etc. So there's a whole quality process here, which makes, I think, another kind of differentiation for this overall system. And then, of course, as I mentioned, to make this more contemporary, everything is nicely adapted to your mobile phone. So it's very easy to read the articles on the go, etc. And so this is what we're building. And I know we're low on time, so I'll pause there for any feedback. Thank you very much.
Yeah, okay. So let me see. I think I can do this. Go on stage. Okay. So I put a poll in here to ask how useful this would be. Meanwhile, if there are questions, please feel free to put some questions in the chat. We do want to give a little time at the end for some other things. And by the way, you're welcome to say it's not useful if that's actually the case, because we want honest feedback on this. So, but are there questions that are popping up? Okay. Let's give this a minute. So what we can expect to see soon. So you see the question, Matt? I don't know.
I don't see the question.
It says, so is this a preview of the updated IEEE journals and what we can expect to see soon? So this is not journals, no. The tool, I don't know what's your timeline for actually releasing releasing the tool so that it would be available in general?
Well, we can give early access immediately. So if anyone has interest, please reach out to the organizer and they can get in contact with us. So we can give early access. This is an alpha version. A larger scale version will be available more generally available, GA, in the summertime. So roughly around June period.
Okay. All right. Well, I'd like to turn things back over to Jamika. So let me see if I can do that. I think you need to stop sharing or something because I don't have the. Oh, there we are. Okay. Share screen. Okay. So Jamika, can you? Hopefully your audio is good now. So you let me know when you want me to go to the next slide. Can we hear you? Oh no. Um, okay, Shamika, can you say something? All right, we're not seeing. Matt, can you hear me? Is this
Yes, I can hear you.
okay? Okay, so it's not working. I am so sorry. Um, try to rejoin quickly, and we'll see if it works. I'll give it a minute. Yeah, I think your mic needs access to the application needs access to your mic somehow. If you can hear us. Um, well, anyway, I will go ahead then, just because, in the interest of time, and hopefully Shanika can join us. So there are a number of different things that are being planned, and I am not the one planning these. These are being planned by the YP group. These include some virtual career fairs. So the virtual career fairs starting in Region 10 in 2025. The idea there is to connect students with potential employers. Of course, Eta Kappa Nu students are more than welcome to participate in this. There's also some local industry meetups being organized, and I don't have many details on that, but the idea is to meet with industry leaders there. There's some professional education and professional engineering and fundamentals of engineering certifications that are training that's being developed. This is being developed in various places in IEEE. So one of them is with the Student Activity Council from MGA, from Membership in Geographic Activities, and others are through the IEC and other places as well. And the idea is to provide as much training in this area as and education as possible. I will say that FE and PE is US centric. There are equivalents in other countries, and those are being looked at as well. The Elevate program has to do with the platform to explore co-op internships and take their first meaningful steps in their careers. I apologize. I don't know if anybody here knows more about that. I can't give you a lot of details. We've talked about the industry guiding counselor, and then there's the standards event in Kuala Lumpur. And this is in process. And I can tell you a little bit about that because that is something that's being organized. And if I can get to the right slide here, we may be able to do that. Uh, oh, I'm not sure what happened there. Oh, whoops! This was. Oh gosh. Okay. Oh, okay. All right. Okay, sorry, my browser got taken over. All right, so in any case, I wanted to just talk a little bit about this, and the idea here, and again, this is very much a work in progress, but I don't know if anybody here is from the Kuala Lumpur section, but if you are, you may get an invite to this. The idea is that to engage people from really from all areas of the IEEE in the development of standards using what we call an entity model. So the entity model is one where there's sort of one company, one vote, and the idea is eventually that you can get joint teams and provide input, meet people from other teams interested who are developing a particular standard in that area. The kickoff of that is going to be a lot of fun. We're pretty far along in organizing that, but it's certainly not complete yet. The goal is to actually play a game. It's a multi-person, in-person game where you get to play sort of learn about how standards are made, and then role play actually development of standards with a team, and then get debriefed at the end. And it's an absolutely fun way and great way to learn about these things. So if you're in that section or one of those sections, please look for an invitation to join in that event. So that's about it. So I will turn things back when we stop presenting. And I don't know if Shamika, are you there? We still can't hear you. Oh, well. Okay. All right. Are there any last things? Nancy, did you want to jump in and say anything, or does anybody want to have a final word? Ah, how to connect with us? That's a good question. I don't know how the conference chat works. I can't really answer that question.
I think I should be audible now.
Oh, you're there. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you've got 2 minutes. Okay.
Yeah. So
I'm
I
so
think
sorry.
Robbie went through all the initiatives of like young professionals. So if you have any questions, like you can reach us at IEEE.org. And one initiative that I would like to explain is like there's a new initiative that we try to do, like called IEEE Elevate. That's to support co-op programs. So when you start to like go into the industry at the very first time, it would helpful to like get industry exposure. And if you want to like pivot from one career to other, that would be helpful too. The last thing I want to ask is like, what's your opinion on like the PE and FE initiatives, especially from like the folks from like region 1 to 6? Would that be helpful to have training programs for like professional engineers and fundamentals of engineers? Yeah. So that's what I wanted to say. And finally, if you're interested in like organizing these events with YP, you can apply for funding. We support funding for like HKN student chapters to like co-organize events up to 500 for like student transition events, and like up to 1.5K for like meetups, etc. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Sorry about the inconvenience. Yeah.
Shamika, so let's see if we get some thumbs up or thumbs down for the FEPE training. I think that was a great question.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Okay, perfect. Okay, well, thanks everybody. And if you need to get in touch with us, I guess, Nancy, I'm just going to turn it over to you to say whatever for the last minute.
Great. Well, thanks so much, Robbie, and thanks to this team for putting this together today. I think there's a lot of exciting things happening in this initiative and at IEEE in general, a lot with YPs and a lot of great things for students. So we're really glad that you joined us today to share this with us. So I think, I've already gotten some emails, Robbie, so I will be sharing that with you and the rest of the IEC team. And like I said, very exciting times, interesting stuff going on, and really happy to be bringing this to the forefront, and we're getting people engaged with this amazing new technology and content that we have. Great. volunteer at IEEE.org. And you can always contact me. My email was also in the chat, or info@hkn.org.